All right, let's talk about one of the biggest questions in AI right now. As we build these incredibly powerful, autonomous AI agents, how do we actually keep them from going rogue? Well, today we're diving into a brand new open source tool from NVIDIA that's designed to do just that.
And that really is the central question, isn't it? I mean, we're building these amazing AI assistants that can work all on their own. They can manage our systems, write code, access the whole internet. But when you have that much power, how do you stop a single mistake or maybe a malicious prompt from causing a total catastrophe? How do you give an agent the freedom it needs to be useful without, handing over the keys to your entire digital kingdom?
And this is exactly where NVIDIA NemoClaw comes in. It's an open source project built specifically to solve this problem. You can think of it as a major security upgrade for frameworks like OpenClaw, which is a popular platform for building these agents. What NemoClaw does is build a secure, contained environment, a safe space, where your agent can get its work done without being a threat to your system.
Now, what's really cool here is this idea of guardrails. Instead of just letting the agent run wild on your machine, NemoClaw lets you build fences. You set the rules. You decide what files it can touch, which websites it can visit, what code it's allowed to run. It makes sure that you are always in the driver's seat. And this comparison just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the Wild West. The agent has a direct line to everything. A single bad instruction could be a disaster. But on the right, with NemoClaw, the agent is in a sandbox. It's basically an isolated playground where it can operate safely, and every single thing it tries to do is checked against the rules that you've put in place.
So, how does NemoClaw actually pull this off? How does it build this secure playground? Let's pop the hood and take a look. It really all comes down to two key ideas: the sandbox, which is the isolated container, and the blueprint, which is like the master plan for building it.
Okay, so the system is built on four main parts. The plugin is what gives you all the command line tools to manage everything. The sandbox, well, that's the isolated container we just talked about, built with OpenShell tech. The inference piece handles all the calls to the AI model itself, routing them securely through a gateway. But the real genius here is how it's all tied together by the blueprint.
And here's why that blueprint is so important. It's basically the architect for the entire system. It's a single file that you can track and version, and it lays out exactly how to build that secure environment. It defines the sandbox, it sets up the security policies, it configures how the agent connects to its AI brain. This makes sure everything is built precisely the same way every single time. No guesswork.
And inside that sandbox, you get these four very distinct layers of protection. First, the network layer acts like a firewall, right? It blocks any connection to a website you haven't explicitly approved. Then, the file system layer stops the agent from snooping around or changing any files outside of its little work area. The process layer is super important. It stops the agent from trying to get admin rights or making dangerous system calls that could mess up your computer. And finally, the inference layer makes sure all its thoughts, its calls to the AI model, are routed securely. Now, all this might sound a little complex, but the team in NVIDIA has actually made getting started remarkably simple. So for any of you who want to experiment with this, here's a quick guide to setting up your very first sandboxed agent. First up, just a quick system check. You're going to need a modern Linux Ubuntu setup, Node.js and NPM for the tools, and you'll need Docker installed and running to handle the containerized sandbox. And hey, don't worry if you don't have everything, the installer can actually help you with some of these. The whole setup process really boils down to just 4 steps. After you check your system, you run one single installer script, you walk through a guided setup wizard, and then that's it. You're ready to start chatting with your own secure agent. See this one line on your screen? This is where the magic begins. You literally just copy and paste this command into your terminal. This script goes out and grabs and installs everything you need. It'll even install Node.js for you if you're missing it, and then it kicks off the whole setup process. Okay, once that installation is done, you run the NemoClaw onboard command. This launches this really friendly, interactive wizard that just guides you through the rest of the setup. It'll create the sandbox, apply all the default security policies, and it'll ask you for your NVIDIA API keys so the agent can connect to powerful models like Nematron. So, you're all set up. Now what? Well, you'll need a few key commands to manage your new agent and its environment. Let's quickly go over the essentials you'll be using. We already met NemoClaw onboard, that's for the initial setup. Now, to actually get inside the sandbox and start giving the agent tasks, you'll use NemoClaw name connect.
To keep an eye on what the agent is doing in real time and maybe approve or deny its requests, you'll use OpenShell term. That's kind of your main control panel. And of course, you have your standard start, stop, and status commands to manage the whole service.
Now, it is really, really important to keep this in mind. NemoClaw is brand new. It's officially alpha software. And that means it's designed for early experimentation, and you should definitely expect some rough edges. But honestly, that's also the exciting part. By trying it out now, you get to be on the absolute cutting edge and help shape the future of this open source project with your feedback. So let's bring it all together. What are the key things to remember? First, NemoClaw is all about a safety-first approach to running AI agents in a sandbox. It gives you total control using those policy-based guardrails. The setup is incredibly simple, and because it's open source, it's a huge invitation for the entire community to jump in and help build the future of safe AI together.
And that really is the ultimate question, right? By giving us a secure playground, tools like NemoClaw are removing a huge barrier to innovation. They let developers experiment more freely and build the next generation of autonomous assistants with a lot more confidence. So what new possibilities does this open up for you? What will you build?